مضيف هذه له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Brother Muhammad, Jazakallah khairan. Sister Layla, Sunnahfollowers, anybody watching, ask the most important topic. Why? Every time when I see Brother Muhammad here, see very important topic. Brother, salam to everyone.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi.
And the topic, brother and sister, and Brother Muhammad mentioned before, we are special. We are unique.
We're built different.
Exactly. We are different. Plus, Allah Azza wa Jal said in Surah Al Imran, Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas. Allah, you are the best nation that Allah has created. Since Adam alayhi salam, the last one, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And brother, because we are special with the police, with the schools, with the church, with the masajid, a lot of people, they are Muslims. In the time of September 11, our Iman, our Islam, our identity, low and low and low. And now become ICE and the police and the new president become more and more and more.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of corruption, but the key, us as a Muslim, Allah create us special, number one. Number two, Rasulullah is the best model. So the question here, how to be with this kind of facing this kind of hardship calamity, not in America, of course, in the Muslim world.
Well, all over the world.
How to make our identity as a Muslim, especially in this country as American here, strong and not afraid. Especially I'm talking also for our kids.
It's a tough question because we're in a time right now where it's very political, right? There's a lot of politics when it comes to
an office,
in any job, any type of career path that we choose as Muslims. And even the kids that are going to high schools. We have these conversations all the time where these kids, where we have to explain to them, we are Muslims. We are built different. We are strong. We are we can't be bent, right? And if you look at how the non-Muslims talk about us, non-Muslims, right? When you look at these people on their podcasts, when you listen to these people on social media, they'll tell you, they'll say out loud, they say these Muslims are unbreakable. They will not cave to any of or conform to any of what they consider to be sinful actions, right? They won't drink. They won't do the bad things that these people are doing. And if these non-Muslims are saying these things, I have to explain to the Muslims, these are the non-Muslims that are on these radio shows, on the social media, talking about us as strong. But then they don't know behind the scenes that we are a bunch of our kids, a bunch of our teenagers, a bunch of our middle adult, 20 years old and older, they're weak. They're scared. They're afraid. They're afraid to be a Muslim. They're afraid to be considered Muslims. I think one of the things that we have to be kind of remember is like all these hadiths that we talk about how Islam is the best of the best, how the people of the Muslims are the best of the best. We have to act like that. We have to feel that way. You can't act like that and be that if you're not feeling it.
To feel it, you are strong already by default.
By default, like to be proud of yourself.
I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we give our kids these names. We give our kids Muhammad, Ibrahim, Umar. We give our kids these strong names, and we don't explain to them what that name means. Right? Like, what does it mean? Not just your name, but what does it mean to be a Muslim? As a parent, you have to already instill that in them when they're growing up. And if you've already failed doing that as a parent when their kids are young, figure out a way to talk to your children about excitement about being Muslim.
Yeah, I like that. You just mentioned something important. That a companion, the Sahaba of Rasulullah, every name there is a meaning. They understand the meaning.
Absolutely.
And actually, we grow up in Gaza. To have a name, we have a meaning. Me, Ibrahim alayhi salam.
Absolutely.
And then my brother Ishaq, because Ismail, my brothers, my younger brother, when Ibrahim, Allah guide us as a Muslim to choose, but at the same time, this is very good to Brother Muhammad, Jazakallah khair. If you give a name for your son, for your daughter, explain the meaning of your son or your daughter. Good.
And don't just tell them, once, they turn 8 or 10 or you have to keep doing it on a consistent, you have to keep reminding them, your name is
again. This is very important topic.
It's very important to just remember that, I already explained to my kid what his name means. Well, When? How long ago did you do that? Continuously explain to your children what their names are all about, what they mean, what it means to be a Muslim, what it means to be Umar, what it means to be Ibrahim, what it means to be Muhammad. Explain to them what that means.
The meaning, and also why you choose
Why
your
you choose that.
name.
Absolutely.
Why you choose your name. Yes, brother.
I mean, how many times when reverts come to us, or come to you, and they change their names?
Yes. It's not condition, by the way,
It's not a
to change
condition.
your name.
It's not a condition.
But it's good to have a strong name.
Yeah.
And also the companion of Rasulullah also had a nickname.
Mm-hmm.
For example, in Gaza, everybody, even babies, Abu Ibrahim, Abu Muhammad, even not the babies.
Yeah.
Is just to make it tough.
Them up. Yeah.
Of course, Gaza is the best country in tough.
Alhamdulillah.
Now the question number one here, how to make the true strong Muslim in an environment, enemy environment, like people hate Islam, hate you.
So when you just said this, because this is something you just brought up with when we talked about the names, right? The names of Abu, and you make that tough. That's psychological.
Yes.
Right. Psychological toughness. Right. We talk
I like that. Yeah.
We talk about toughness as being strong muscles. We talk about lifting weights and and fighting. We talk about when people hear strength, they just hear that part of the strength. They don't really think about the inside.
I like that.
So that's, to me, reverse a little bit when we talk about the names. Names can really affect the one psyche inside them, right? If you explain to your kid, I named you this because it's the name of a warrior that the prophet fought with, you or one of the companions, or you tell your kids these things, it's already giving them that inside strength.
I like that, brother
right?
Mohammed, yes.
And then when you talk about, and you continuously talk to them about these things as they grow up, even when they turn 13, 15, 18, 20, you keep reminding them that this is what your name is all about. This is something that we should be doing during Ramadan, right? When you're having that family discussion, when you're sitting down around the table and you say, oh, let me remind you guys of what happened when you guys were born, right? When you guys were born, we were thinking about names to have, and this is the name. This is why we chose your name. Oh, yeah. Baba, we heard this already. Oh, Bob, okay, yeah, but you're going to hear it again. Because when I die, I want you to be able to tell your kids.
Yes.
Why my Baba named me this?
Inherit that. Yeah.
Yes. And that's what you leave a heritage.
I love that.
And so we think about strength as just being strong and muscular, and we can lift a bunch of weights, we can throw some rocks, strength is inside. Right. And that's how you started at an early age. Let me tell you about your name. Let me tell you about your heritage. Let me tell you about where you came from. Let me tell you about my struggles as a father growing up in this country or in this other country or wherever you're from, and explain to them what you've been through. So they know, okay, if my dad could go through that, my mom could go through that, yes. I can go through this.
And can you repeat yourself with that? You repeat myself, it happened to me, it happened to you, to instill this in our heart.
You instill that, like, look how I became tough. This is what made me tough. Because right now we're at a crossroad with our kids. A lot of our kids are weak, are very, very weak-minded, very psychologically not there. They want to fit into everybody else's, the society's definition of what a man is, society's definition of what a woman is, and they're too embarrassed to be a Muslim because Muslims are considered to be all, angry and terroristy, and so it's funny, I just had this discussion with the 8th graders. We have to smile more than anybody else.
Prophet Muhammad, he always smiled.
Yeah. And I tell him, I said, first of all, it's Sunnah. It's a charity. It's one thing that I taught my kids all the time. You have to always smile. And then when you talk to the non-Muslims and they say, they ask about the one guy who got elected in New York, and they said, oh, he's always smiling. The new Muslim. He's always in the smiling. He's always smiling. I said, well, because we have to. Yeah, it's a Sunnah. It's a Sunnah.
It's not a charity.
Exactly. But also we have to, if we don't smile, you're going to think we're just an angry Muslim.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to work extra hard to fit in that sense of letting them understand that Muslims aren't scary people.
Yeah. Brother Mohammed had mentioned something important in the beginning. Let me have a comment about muscles and big chest. And brother, Jazakallah khair.
It's hot.
We have, oh my Allah, Chinese food. Chinese stuff. Put it here for me. It's hot. How did she handle this? Jazakallah khairan. Brother and sister, I have experience I do sport, I teach all the sport. anybody with muscles, a big tough, that those people the most weak,
Scared.
have a few of them strong, very few with the muscles,
Yeah.
and actually they are heavy.
Yeah.
Those heavy
Well,
was
slow.
nothing. Those people with muscles, when they become older, become very weak, very super weak. Look, Arnold used to be what? Now
Yeah.
a stick.
Wrinkly stick.
Arnold.
Yeah.
But my point, brother and sister, this body, really strong, yes, but not to show off.
No.
We want the key, our heart to be strong in our deed.
Absolutely. And you know, we can't rule out, you know, strength is important, right? It's very important. Take care of your body, take care of your health, take care of your, you know, your physique, your muscles, your arms, your legs. That's very important, right?
Indeed.
It's very important. I'm not saying that that's not, you know, a big deal, but we can't start that unless we start with our children at a young age, showing them how inside it's be proud of it. Be proud of it. Be proud of your name. Be proud of being a Muslim. Be proud of identity. Who you are. Yeah, be proud of your identity. Because if you don't be proud of that, then you get the muscles and you get all this. Then what's inside?
Nothing. That's why Muhammad. But brother, also about the power, psychological power, and thinking power, and a lot of problem compared to be a psychological iman. You mentioned a psychological problem. Now I am tough, but inside they think I'm tough.
And you know, it's funny. You know, we talk about the toughness. We had
what is the difference between to feel I'm strong, or I can be strong?
What do you mean?
I have to be strong. I feel I'm strong because I go gym and this and that. But at the same time, inside not.
So when you're born and you're raised and you're not raised in that kind of atmosphere. Let's say you're not raised with parents that can instill that toughness inside of you, that strength inside of you. It's always amazes me that when we go to the masjid and we sit there, we listen to the sermons, we listen to the lectures, we talk and we hear the imam speak. I never really heard an imam who can really push that button on these kids to let them know, you know, I've seen imams, I've heard imams who have really loud tones, really, they speak loudly, they speak clearly, they speak very good. I mean, I've had good imams, but the masjid is supposed to be the place where, you know, if our parents are lacking, that's where you go to get the rest of the stuff that your parents aren't giving you.
I mean, the parents lacking.
And then you go to the masjid and you find an imam, a person that's there who can really fill in the blanks of what your parents are not instilling inside of you, right? We think of the masjid as just a place to go play around, a place to go, you know, pray real quick. I mean, how many times do we go to the salon? You have your buddy on the phone, you know, texting or not even paying attention to the lecture. We've seen these things before. We hear these things before. But I tell the younger kids, the 8th graders, especially 8th graders, when you go to a masjid, if you find an imam who's not really talking the talk to get to you, go talk to the imam and say, listen, you know, this is the kind of stuff that we want to hear, right? Teach the imams what the next generation wants to listen to. We have to instill the fact that, you know, we're living in a westernized country, whether you're in America or Europe or Australia, you know, wherever you're living at right now. If you're living in a non-Muslim country, we have the odds are against you, right? Everything's going to be, you know, pushed against you because of the way as Muslims. So if you're constantly getting beat up as a young kid, that, you know, Muslims are bad, Muslims are terrorists, and you're growing up with that constant Muslims are terrorists, then by the time you get 12, 13, 15 years old, what's going to happen? You don't want to be that person, right? You don't want to be that, consider that. I mean, even how you said 9/11, even after 9/11, how many movies and shows and have they showed on TV and on social media and that Muslims are the bad guys, right? All the movies that we have, it's always the Muslim. It's either the Muslim guy's a bad guy, the Chinese guy's a bad guy, the Russian guy's a bad guy, or the black people are bad people. These movies portray these things constantly, right? It's constantly going and going and going.
The reason, the purpose.
There's a big purpose for that because, you know, it's always kind of, let's make the general population hate these people, and then next year let's make the general population hate these people. It's always developed. Let's divide everybody. Yeah. Right. Let's keep everybody divided because if everybody's divided and everybody's scared of each other, we can control everybody better.
Yeah.
Right. Islam destroys all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right? What then the last, I think was the last sermon. What was the last sermon he said? There's nobody better than and no Arab not better than
Yeah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, it's you know that.
I see that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the first and last Hajj, and before he died, less than a year, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gathered 120,000 Muslims, and not 1,000. And he made a huge lecture in Arafat.
Okay.
And this message, whoever now here gives this message to a person on this earth. Yeah, but you just mentioned something also, the imams. Not all imams actually have this kind of mentality to speak, to encourage our kids.
Absolutely.
The khutbah Jum'ah here and there, for example, about wudu, about this, some people about Gaza, about Palestine, about the Sudan, this, yeah, sometimes. But not everybody.
Well,
our community.
Yeah, well, the majority of when I go, because in my work, I get to go to the different masajid, right? I get to go sali and pray in different places. And the majority of them is charity and giving to your masjid, giving money. You know, you go to a masjid over here, oh, we're fixing the bathrooms, we need money. And then you go to the masjid over here, the imam's talking about, we're fixing this, we need more money. That's not what we're going there for, you know, for that Friday. You have attention, you have the attention of so many people in front of you right there.
Exactly.
So many people in front of you there. I guarantee you, if you hit this right spot on people, they will donate.
Yes, I agree with you.
So you have a whole bunch of students, a whole bunch of kids, a whole bunch of parents sitting in front of you for that 20 minutes, 30 minutes that you have. Make it matter, right? As an imam. And when you see these parents, these kids who are very subhanAllah, I mean, I see these kids and I feel for them. Even my own kid, you know, I see my own kid. I always have to keep reminding him, hey man, remember, you're a Muslim, bro. You're a Muslim. Remember, first and foremost, you're going to high school next year. You're going to be out of the Islamic school. You're going to be going to a public school. Remember, first and foremost, don't be scared. Don't be nervous about being a Muslim, you know. And he gets it. And when I go to the other schools and I talk to the other kids and I say these same things, my son, he looks at me like, okay, Dad, I heard this before. But then the other kids ask questions. Well, how do I fit into the other school? How do I fit into the other kids when I go to high school? Because they're nervous.
Yes, especially a lot of people had Islamic school and go to the high school, public school. They're lost. Then the key here, that's very important. It's not our term. But in this case, when we got Islamic school until middle school, they have to public school now. Yeah. Very important.
Very important.
Our mind today. So, but how to make our kids in this case fit with non-Muslim community? And plus, there's enemy there too. Look at that, you are weird, you are different.
Yeah, absolutely. And this goes to a lot of the females who, you know, when they go to with the hijabs, and you know, because I asked that question. I said, how many girls here, you know, because they all wear the hijabs in Islamic schools. How many of you girls actually wear the hijab outside of the school?
Oh my God! Yeah,
maybe 3 or 4 of the girls, you know, they raise their hand and say, "Yeah, I wear the hijab." I said, you know, how are you going to feel when you go to the school and you're the only one wearing a hijab? You know, what's that going to feel like to you? And I didn't think about it. Well, I want you to think about this. How are you going to feel when you go now to the American school? Are you going to be okay with this? Are you going to still be strong in your heart to keep that hijab on? Because that's, you know, for us men, you know, we can walk around the schools. Nobody's going to know if we're Muslims or not unless they hear our names. It's kind of our names, right? And then it comes back to our names. Unless they hear Mohammed, unless they hear Abdullah, they're not going to know you're Muslim. But you are a reflection, a symbol of Islam. So how are you going to take that? And they start to think, oh, no, I didn't think about this. Well, I need you to start thinking about this.
But there's a solution for them.
There's a very big solution, because one of the things I tell the kids is we're not built for this world, right? We're built different. We keep saying that's my motto in all the schools. When I come into school, I tell them we're Muslims. We're what? We're built different. So we're not trying to just fit in. We're not trying to fit in. We're not trying to be like everybody else. We're not trying to do. I tell them when everybody's going left, we go right. We go down the right path. We go down the right way. We do everything the way we're supposed to be doing everything. And I always tell them, if you're a good Muslim, you're fine. Nobody's going to be able to bother you, right? If you are going to the schools and you're pushing that deen and pushing that religion, pushing I'm a Muslim, then you're going to have a problem. But we don't do that, right? We don't go walk around saying, oh, I'm a Muslim, I'm better than you. No, we don't. That's not the way we act.
Indeed, yes.
Right. So you explain to them, you don't go around showcasing that you're a Muslim. You don't say, ha ha ha, I'm a Muslim, you're not Muslim. Because that's, they get a little, they think they're tough, right? A lot of these kids are 13-year-old, they think they're so tall and they're so big. I tell them, you're big, you're tall, you got muscles, mashallah, but how about here? How about inside? Are you going to be able to handle 4 years? Because that's what high school, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 4 years of that aspect of not being around and surrounded by Muslims.
Look, no, let's go back to the question. Like, why? Last conference, I saw a lot of kids actually in Islamic school. Now they went to high school. I saw the girls without hijab.
Yeah.
You saw them.
Yeah.
You were in the conference too.
Yeah.
But now, forget those kids. May Allah guide them to them. Whoever in the school now, in public school right now, because I know some people was how. One of the girls visited us from Texas. This, I just remember it's there. I just noticed. How, Brother Muhammad, for whoever now in the public school, you're going to go to the high school now, public school, non-Muslims. How to keep your hijab? And the kids actually, they pray in the masjid. How to encourage our kids, number one, for the girls, for the hijab, and how to encourage our kids to keep your salah on time in the public school.
So the prayer in public schools is, every school makes accommodations, right? You just have to be the one that's going to be the head, the leader, right? And one of the things I always tell the kids in the schools in 8th grade is, remember, we're leaders. Islam teaches us to be leaders, not followers, right? And so I tell them, like, if you go to a school that doesn't have time for you to go pray, or doesn't make you a space, clear, it's like an empty classroom. There's always that empty classroom sometime. Yeah, for salah. And every school will always say, go ahead and pray at this time. You're going to pray at 1:30, go pray over there, and it's in the classroom. And you do it. Please don't be those kids that pray in the middle of a cafeteria.
Of course, it's wrong.
We don't pray and block people's paths. We don't pray
that's the principle.
Yeah, they're very accommodating. Alhamdulillah, the schools here are very accommodating. I don't know, maybe in Europe or anywhere else you guys are at, to check with those guys. But once you start to do that and you start to see, you remember your salahs, at least for me, and in front of what I tell the kids is, and I notice with the kids, and even at the conference, a lot of the girls and the boys, they came to me and they said the same things. The same thing you said to me in 8th grade is what's happening right now. They're in 9th grade, they're in 10th grade. Yeah. I remember what you said, brother, 2 years ago, I'm in 10th grade now, and everything you said about public school is true.
Yeah.
And they tell me, I'm praying in one of the janitor's rooms, or one of the classrooms. We have like 8 people that pray now together. Okay, alhamdulillah. So it does work. You can't ask.
Well, no, the hijab.
The hijab is the other issue now, right? So we think,
I was very sad to see the girls without hijab in the conference.
We don't just see the girls with the hijab. You see a lot of women with the hijab. It's one of those things that
I want our kids first.
Yeah.
Our Islamic schools. May Allah guide our kids, inshallah, and the parents.
Inshallah. And so we especially when, like, let's say when my daughter started wearing hijab and she's, playing basketball. I said, Baba, you're going to be the only girl on the basketball court wearing a hijab. I don't care. Okay.
She already has strong heart.
Yeah, and that's because, again, her mom and me, like, we pushed that strength. We're Muslims. We're proud. Be who you are. And it just spiraled into this woman who now is not afraid to be a Muslim. 17 years old, going to college, not caring that she's a Muslim, and I'm proud of it. But again, we've instilled that at a young age. And so when you are a young woman going from 8th grade to 9th grade, and you went all these 8 years wearing hijab in these Islamic schools, you should already have that comfortableness to be able to just wear it throughout the time. But the problem is, we go into these schools and they want to fit in with these girls, and they want to be different, to imitate, to dress like them, to act like them, and you start to see that. I go into these schools and I see these girls who were in my class 2-3 years ago wearing so much makeup, I don't even recognize them.
It's really sad.
And oh, Brother Muhammad, it's me. And I'm like, who are you? I don't know you. Oh, I was in your 8th grade class and you talked about this, you talked about that. Well, what happened to you? Why are you? And I'm very real with them. And I say, what happened to you? Why are you wearing so much makeup? Why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah, Allah.
And well, brother, it's hard in America. It's hard in this school. I said, sister, it's not. It really isn't. You're old enough to be my daughter. It's not hard to be a Muslim.
Actually, I went to public school, non-Muslim. Non-Muslim girls, actually, it's not too much makeup than the Arab, the Muslims.
So it's funny because there's a lot of non-Muslims who have the strength that I'm trying to teach these kids to have. Non-Muslim women have the strength that our Muslim women should have. You understand what I'm saying? Like
but they didn't see different.
It's a very big difference. So there's a lot of non-Muslims who don't wear makeup. There's a lot of men, there's a lot of guys out there, boys who are not Muslims, but don't care what anybody thinks or don't care what anybody says. Like the way we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be this way as Muslims, but then you see our Muslims are confused, they're scared, their strength is weak, their iman is weak. Not the majority, but a lot of them. I mean,
a lot. Yes.
It's enough to have the conversation.
So with those girls what we saw in the conference, some, not all of them.
No,
and mashallah, I say Malatab al Hijab, beautiful, mashallah. They are active with the conference.
Yeah.
But whoever not, the moment she went to public school, she removed the hijab. A few of them.
Yeah.
Can we give an advice to them, Brother Muhammad?
I think one of the biggest advice is to, I think a lot of times is that parents aren't really, instilling that pride in them. I mean, unfortunately, I've even heard where some of the fathers or some of the brothers are telling their sisters or their daughters, don't wear it until you graduate high school. Because they don't want to be, I don't want my daughter to be, stand out in front of the crowd. I don't want my daughter to be different from everybody else. But brother, we are different.
Yeah.
And remember, please remember, I keep saying this all the time, we are different.
Yeah.
We are. So be proud of that difference of who we are.
Whether that too much pressure on the Muslim in daily basis with this kind of environment, but at the same time, a lot of people mocking Muslims, and the people sometimes they act and sometimes they're afraid. Few of them act, they can answer, but but the majority of them, when they're mocking them as a Muslim, the color, the nationality, they become really, really down.
Well, it doesn't help when you have social media, kids on social media who mock Islam or mock Muslims, not Islam. Let's not say Islam. Let's say Muslims. When they're making jokes and they're, they make their little videos. They want to get the views. They want to get these things. And, it doesn't really help our cause when I see certain things coming up on my feed, and I say, these guys are making fun of Arab, or they're making fun of Muslims, or they're Muslims making fun of Muslims. They're Arab making fun of Arab. Making jokes about the way we are, or the way we talk, or and sometimes they're funny. Sometimes I get it.
Jokes.
Sometimes it's jokes. Mom with a ship. Okay, that's great. My mom hit me with a ship.
Shoes.
Shoes. That's the what are they called? Sandals or slippers.
Sunday, yeah.
We grew up like that. I understand, but when you're talking about Muslims and prayer and you're making fun of the salah, or you're making fun of the hijab, or you're making fun of something like that, that's when you cross the line.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's kind of when our kids see these videos, they start to think, well, even Muslims are making fun of us. Right? Even Muslims are mocking us. And so what I tell the kids is, especially when you go to a school and you're going to have bullies, right? You're going to have people, oh, are you a terrorist? Are you this? Are you that? Are you, you're going to hear these things. First and foremost, I kind of tell them, like, take a step back. Don't engage in stuff like this, right? Don't go back and forth with them. Don't, because that's what they want. They want to get a reaction out of you, right? They want to see you say something. But, and I always say, stress this out, you have the right to defend yourself. If somebody lays a hand on you, you lay a hand back.
Agree.
Right? You're not a wimp. And Islam tells us this.
Yep.
Right? You have the right to defend yourself as Muslims. And so when they're
in the Quran, whoever invade you, fight with you, fight back, just like the way defensive.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you once it's done, you lay your hands up. You say, "Khalas," you don't go over excessive. You don't go too much. You just do what you got to do to defend yourself. I tell the kids all the time, you have, that inside to be strong and your outside to be strong at the same time.
I like that.
You can't have a strong outside and a weak inside, because you won't know what to do with yourself, right? You won't know. It'll just be for show. All these muscles and these arms, it'll just be for show, but you won't be able to defend yourself.
Yeah, you're right with that. Yeah. Okay, now as a Muslim, the identity is very important for a person. How to show, okay, I am a Muslim identity without anybody criticize me in a negative way.
Mhm.
And there's a lot. You know, for example, I go and see, alhamdulillah, I have no problem. I go to the supermarket here, I go to Costco here with the same clothes, no one, anything, except once actually in the mall, they go back to your country.
Yeah.
I say, go first, and tomorrow I will follow you. Yeah, so go first. My point here, when identity is very important.
Identity is very important.
There's no question with that,
Yeah.
because we are Muslims. No
Absolutely.
question.
100%.
We have submit ourselves to Allah. But the key, and not children, by the way, even adults.
Even adults.
Even adults, they are afraid even to pray.
Mhm.
You know, for example, in the park, alhamdulillah, in a conference, I see people praying. But a lot of people, they go to Maghrib and Isha, home, we're going home. Because it's a mistake. But how really to have this identity? I am a Muslim, plus I live in non-Muslim country. And around me, non-Muslim, 99% non-Muslims.
First, let me kind of address what you said, what happened to you, right, at the mall. You were able to go back with him and say something back to him, right? I think a lot of times too, I tell the kids this a lot. If somebody's saying back, going back and forth with you, or somebody's starting to talk, trash about you, you can't respond if you don't know how to talk, right? If you don't know how to speak, if you don't know how to address the situation, don't speak. Don't make yourself seem.
But you become down, brother.
Yeah, you do. But this is where it comes down to knowing who you are, right? Knowing your identity and understanding and gaining knowledge. Right, and going back home or going back to talk to somebody who says, hey, brother, somebody said this to me the other day. How should I have reacted? And then I'll say, hey, listen, this is how you can answer that back, right? Because even when I do talks at when I do talks at different events, somebody asks me a question I don't know. Hey, listen, let me get back to you. Let me ask a sheikh, and I'll come back to you. I won't respond because I don't know.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, even when you go to these protests and you have all these, mashallah, hundreds of thousands of people protesting about Ziedeh, about Sudan, about all these things, I'll tell them, don't speak to any social media people
if you
don't know, because you're just going to make yourself sound really dumb.
Correct.
And you're going to make us look really bad as Muslims. So you nominate one person or two people who can speak clearly and elegantly and politely, because that's how we're supposed to talk to these people, to everybody. So when they're coming up, I always tell the guys, don't answer. Think about before because we have a tendency as kids, as teenagers, they have a tendency to speak before they think.
Yeah.
No. Think. Take a breath. Think about what you're going to say, and then say it, or don't say anything at all. And then once you gain the knowledge,
you can answer.
Then you can answer.
In fact, I was in Washington. We have a uprising. I mean, a rally actually in front of the White House, and two TV stations came, and the two Latino brother imams actually, they answer. I refuse to answer. Why? Because they are better than me.
Yeah.
The language, and they are American.
Absolutely.
When they say, brother Sheikh Daniel and Sheikh Yusuf, answer that question. I agree with that. That means if I do know how to answer, number one, not to be afraid, and be firm.
Absolutely.
And then what?
And then you gain the knowledge, right? You ask the question
knowledge from
your parents, from your family members, from anybody.
If this happens again.
If this happens again, right? You want to prepare yourself, right? And this is something like we should be preparing our kids anyway, right? You're going to high school soon. You're going to college soon. Let me prepare you for what might happen, right? We prepare for the worst.
Oh, what might happen in the future.
In the future. We prepare for the worst, but hope for the best, right?
So, I mean, at this moment here, you're the one to tell us if this happened, what to do.
So if you have somebody coming at you, depending on where you're from, because a lot of times, you might be from nationality, what color, all these things, because you're going to have so many people who have been brainwashed by social media, by the movies, to think that all Arabs are like this, or all Muslims are like that, or all Black people are like this, or all Hispanic people are like this. You're going to have these people who have been so brainwashed to think like that they're going to be so ignorant, so dumb that you feel bad for them. Like, I sometimes feel so bad for those people, because how many videos and how many movies have you seen to make you develop this much hatred? Because you think about the movies you watch, right? Think about the videos that you click, or the videos that you see. How many times, if you see something sad, does it hurt you?
So in Gaza and Sudan, Rohingya,
and then you lose sleep over it. You lose.
Yes,
it does. It affects you psychologically.
yes.
So the same thing applies for when you're watching a constant video of a black man stealing. And you all your feed is black people stealing, black people stealing. Well, that means in your head now, in your heart now, you think all black people are stealers, are thieves. Well, that's not true, is it?
There's a lot of white actually.
There's a lot of white that steal it, but that's how they portray it, and that's how they brainwash, and that's how they make people think this kind of way. So you, as a Muslim, because once you wake up and you're a clear-headed Muslim, and you've woken up from all the I don't know how to say it in English, the hakifati, the
waste of time.
The way, the stuff that they're showing us, we know as Muslims that it's fake and it's not real. We know that they're trying to divide us. We have our brains open, we have our hearts open. Those people don't. They still feel this way. They still think this way. So that you as a Muslim have to feel sorry for them, that they still have that mindset. So is it really, and ask yourself that question, is it worth it for me to go back and forth with this person, or is it better for me to educate this person? Because for me, I use it as an educational moment, right? When somebody comes to me and says, well, why does Muslims hate so much? Why do, I think you're, well, why do Muslims hate everybody so much? Why do Muslims hate the non-Muslims so much? Well, let me explain to you what you're saying, because I don't think you understand what you're talking about. Because I'm a Muslim, you've known me for 2 years. Did I show you any hate? Well, no, you're a different person. Well, no, I'm a Muslim. So let me explain to you what they've taught you to understand that all Muslims hate everything. And you sit there, I will sit there for about 5, 10, 30 minutes and explain to them what Islam is all about. Well, that's not what I heard. Well, that's not what I understand. Well, I heard you guys beat your woman. Well, that's what you heard. But actually, my wife beats me. But they'll see these questions and they'll start to ask, right? Simple questions that you can answer. And then there's questions that you don't know how to answer. You'll say, listen, I don't know that answer, but let me get that answer for you, and we can have another talk. And I've always used like those hate moments as an educational moment. Let me explain to you what Islam is all about.
Repeat it again, please.
There's a lot of times in this world where you're gonna have a lot of hate coming at you. Use those hate moments as educational moments. Teach them about Islam. Let them see a real good Muslim. Because listen, don't get me wrong, we have a lot of bad Muslims out there.
Indeed, yeah.
There's a lot of bad Muslims, there's a lot of bad non-Muslims.
Few.
Okay, we'll say a few. But they are. And sometimes you're going to be the first Muslim person they meet. So let's be in a good way with each other.
But when you go, of course, we spoke about it before yourself, when we are together, especially the kids in the masjid, you are strong, salah and this and that. But even the hadith of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, with Rasulullah, our iman up. We go outside, our iman down. But sometimes the iman went down and become more down. Can you see that in public school?
We see that in public school. I see that when I was in the jails and I used to work in the prisons. A lot of times those guys would convert to Islam. Right? A lot of times they, hey brother, can I get a Quran? Can I get a Quran? And I'll get, until now I still go and grab Qurans from the masjids and I give them to the prison, the jails, because a lot of people convert while they're in there. And man, they're in jail. They're like these Muslims who are Muslims. They follow the religion. They follow the deen.
In the prison?
In the jail, in the prison.
Oh.
And then when they come out, they kind of like go down. Like because you're back in society, right? When you go back in society, you go back.
In prison society.
In prison it's not a society. It's a jail. It's like you have nothing better to do but to pray 5 times a day. To do your reading, to read the Quran, to read the Hadith. You're reading, constantly reading. So they have, mashallah, a lot of knowledge in there. But then what I notice is when they leave that jail and they go back out in the public, they slowly start to drift back into the way of the non-Muslim lifestyle. Because again, remember now you're free. You're a free person. You can, it's everything out here is so much, beautiful and fun. And so they kind of fall back down, and they're embarrassed, or they're shy, or they don't want to be one of those considered to be a jail Muslims, a jail hard Muslim. But what's amazing is when they come out and they start to go to a masjid and they find a good masjid to go to, their iman will come back up.
Oh, the key is the masjid.
And it is because
Not any masjid.
not any masjid. It has to be one of those masjids that's so inviting, right? That doesn't care if you're black, white, Palestinian, Syrian. They don't care. Like you have to have one of those masjids that have that welcoming Islamic vibe.
Well, I have a critical question.
Oh boy.
And this critical question, whoever watching us, you are in charge in any kind of mosque. Brother, how, in your opinion, to choose a board of the masjid in charge in the masjid, helping the community, not individual, helping the community like a personal community, every not a family, a person. So there's responsibility before Allah is the witness.
Yeah.
I be in charge in the board, then I have to serve the community voluntarily.
So okay, so
I know.
No, you said the right thing, because I think not just a masjid board, but any board, right?
Indeed, yeah.
For us, we have, like, let's say we have a masjid board, we have a HOA board, we have a drug and alcohol board. There's boards all over the communities and all these things. When we talk about these boards, I think the biggest issue that we have is that we're choosing people with money, or who own businesses, or who have that.
The majority, not a lot.
Yeah, majority. But what we don't have is we don't have people who are chosen for their skill set.
I like that. Skills.
Their skills. If you are
skills, I mean, define skill.
Define skills. So let's say you have a masjid. You should have somebody who is on the board who is great with buildings. Maybe a contractor, maybe an electrician, or maybe a plumber. Somebody who's good with his hands, who can accounting for the treasury, who can handle the money. Organizer for the community. Somebody who,
I mean, not anybody.
You don't just pick anybody out of the blue.
That I love that.
And
a board supposed to be special about this topic. He especially about he can serve the masjid, serve the community, not board election and that's it.
No, and see, I think that kind of also goes back to maybe imams. I'm not sure, or the community, but I think the imams are the ones who should kind of see who their members are, get to know your members, and say, okay, well, I remember this guy. He's a plumber. He's an electrician. He's a contractor. Let's see. Let me talk to that brother and see if he wants to be on the board. I have another brother here or another sister here who's good at organizing events and who can bring the community to the masjid. Let's get this person on the board to be the community organizer. Like this, as an imam, you should see who your members are, and that's when you can say, okay, I'm going to put your name on ballots, and I'm going to put your name on these things. Are you guys okay? And at the end of the day, you're going to see a lot of people say, I didn't even think about it, but yeah, let me try it out for a year.
I like that. Then have an idea to have a day with the Sunnahfollowers also to speak about how to choose the board of the organization, masjid, center, school. Can we do that?
We should talk about that.
Inshallah. Yeah. By the time we're running around. Yeah. And now action and reaction about our the case. Sometimes the anger inside them. And in Hadith Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when young guy came to Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, give me advice. And Rasulullah looked at him and said, do not get angry.
Yeah.
And not only 3 times, give me advice. Every time, do not get angry. That means he analyzed Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He is angry. But when I go to some schools, you know exactly what I mean. I mean, the majority of the kids angry.
They're angry.
And not only that, when the principal speaks to the father become more angry, and the mom more and more angry. So
and even though Islam says don't get angry, we still get angry.
The Rasulullah not 3 times. Don't.
Absolutely.
That's the Sahabi one. No argument with Rasul. He listened. He took a shower. And then he hold his anger. Now become what? Sa'id.
Yeah.
A happy person.
Well, that's what we talk about when we go to the houses, right? And we talk to the wives and the husbands. What's the first thing we see? Is they're angry at each other and they're yelling at each other, and there's no communication.
This is a serious problem.
It's a serious problem.
Not the kids.
Well, that's what the kids are seeing.
Exactly.
Right. So we imitate our parents. Right?
So the parents actually have to they have to hold their anger, because of their children.
Well, see,
Especially Ramadan coming.
especially with Ramadan coming
2
up.
weeks.
2 weeks in Muhammad, alhamdulillah, I'm very excited, by the way.
I mean, everybody excited.
And one of the things I actually talked to the kids today about was I want you guys to think, because I go every week until Ramadan. I want you guys to think about something that you're going to change during Ramadan. This is what I told the kids.
Intention.
Yeah, like start thinking about it now. This is what I told the kids. Talk to your parents about what you think about what you want to change. And we talk about, the social media aspect. I talk to them about, deleting all your Instagrams, your TikToks that are bad. Stop following people that are doing haram stuff. One of the things that we also talked about was learning how to control that anger that happens throughout the day, happens after the week. And I said, you're in 8th grade, so you guys aren't angry right now. When you go to high school and people make fun of you and people bully you and people talk trash about you, that's when you can start getting angry, right? That's when you start to really feel it. And then you start to open up your eyes to the stuff that I'm telling them. And I said, I talked to the 10th graders that see me in 8th grade, who they tell me the stuff, they say, brother, I get so mad sometimes because I hear them talking about Islam. I hear them talking about Muslims are this and Muslims are that. But I took your advice. I just walked away from it. Well, that's in school. That's what you have to do, right? And when you're in school and you're in public school, you got to walk away. Let them talk the trash. Let them say what you got to say. And I tell the kids all the time, when you're in public school, you have the right to go talk to a counselor, an assistant principal, your teacher, and say, look, these guys are talking trash about me. And get documentation that you've spoken to your teacher, document it down, because this way now you have proof that you're trying to get something from the school to tell them to stop picking on you or stop bullying you.
You need help. I mean, to have a problem to get help with my problem.
Of course, with anger, you have a problem with anger. This is something I think a lot of kids don't tell their parents about either. Our kids don't really talk to us. A lot of kids don't talk to their parents about what they're going through at school, what they're talking about, what they're hearing. And I think because the parents don't really ask the right questions at home, the kid's not going to say anything. We talked about communication a while back about don't ask open-ended questions. Don't say, how was school? Well, school is good.
Done
deal. No. What did you do in first period? What did you do in second period? What did you do in third period? How was lunch? What did you do in lunchtime today? Did anybody say something bad to you? Did anybody, how did you react to the people when they said this to you? You ask those open-ended questions, you're going to have a conversation with your kid.
To be a friend or to be a parent?
A parent, of course, a parent. You're at that age with your kids at that age, you're a parent. But you also want to be that parent that the kids can come to and talk
open their heart
and open and have that safe space. Our houses, our masjids, they're supposed to be safe places. They're supposed to be, and your kid can't talk to you. Your kid should be able to go to a masjid, right? And talk to somebody in the masjid, right? Hopefully an imam, hopefully you have a board member or a committee members there to be able to ask somebody for advice. For me, I give my number out to thousands of people. If you have any problems, call me. If you have any problems, call me. If you have any issues, text me. And alhamdulillah, inshallah, people call, people text. My brother just got married and we're going through a lot of issues. What do I do about this? Well, and we have these talks because at the end of the day, we all need somebody who you can kind of just come to and ask the right questions. So that way you can kind of just vent out what's happening in school, what's happening in college, what's happening at work, to somebody who can kind of give you guidance, good Islamic guidance who really wants the best for you. Because there's people out there, I see them, I swear, on social media, guys, who will give you advice. You can find any answer you want online. Sheikh Google, mashallah, he knows everything about everything.
Now, Sheikh
ChatGPT, then Sheikh Instagram, Sheikh TikTok. Everybody has the answers for everything. You're going to find the answer. You want to start drinking alcohol, you're going to find a so-called sheikh that can tell you drinking alcohol is fine as long as you don't get drunk. And you're going to have a sheikh Google who's going to tell you it's okay to eat pork, but a certain type of pork as long as it's halal. There's no such thing. You'll have these people looking online for the right answers, and they're going to find the answers. They're going to find the answers that they want to hear.
Indeed. Look at halal and haram, brother Muhammad. In one page in the Quran, was halal and haram. One page.
Yeah.
And the whole entire Quran, halal. Only Allah, Adam alayhi salam and Eve, Hawa, do not eat from that tree, but everything you can eat.
Yeah.
Everything you can eat. But he chose to eat.
Yeah.
That both of them to eat from that tree.
But that's the human reaction, right? We say, don't do this, and the kid does what? You tell the kid, don't touch that. What does the kid do?
Do it again.
He'll go and touch it.
And again.
And again. And again. But that's that human reaction, right? The controlling, the impulse control, the understanding. That's us. don't drink alcohol. You're going to see a group of Muslims going to a bar drinking alcohol. You know, you have these, we think, simple rules, right? It's very simple to be a Muslim in America. But then you have these guys and these kids who feel like it's so hard to be a Muslim in America. Well, it's not. You can avoid everything.
By the way, the bar. I came to America in 1988, like 37 years.
Oof.
And I was in Florida international visit. Somebody, let's go to the bar. I thought, bar what? To go a tea and coffee. I went. I just knew. Came from Gaza to America.
Bar, to an American bar.
And then I saw a huge sound, boom, boom, boom,
the
boom.
music.
Then I said, no way. I would isolate myself completely and have soda in that.
Absolutely.
My point, we choose what right. And Allah said, وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ. Deliberate to think. This is Islam and this is Kufr. Halal and Haram. I choose to do this.
But see, it's funny because you coming from Gaza, you're already knowledgeable in Islam. You had that deen inside of you, so you already had this inside of you.
Whoever took me, Muslims.
See, so you had that foundation, right? And alhamdulillah, I had that foundation, but I wasn't always, strict.
Yeah, the foundation.
Yeah,
right.
I wasn't always strict on my deen. I was, high school, college. I didn't think about it like that. But I never wanted to. I never had the want to drink, to party, to do. I never had that want. Not because of I'm a Muslim, it's haram, but mostly because I said I have a goal in my mind. Right? For me, it was more goal setting.
I love this. You're a great mind, think alike. I came to America also for education to help my family in Gaza.
Absolutely.
And you're right. The key you just mentioned is very important. You grow up with this, and you can make it firm.
Absolutely.
When you practice what you learn. Well, we have time. We have time.
Well, one of the things that I'll just kind of say real quick is I was talking to the class today when you talked about this subject. It reminded me of what I was just talking about with the 8th graders. How when you go to high school, your main focus is getting your education and getting out.
Yes.
Right. Set your goals up. What I want to do when I grow up, because we talked about what do you want to be when you grow up in high school.
Indeed.
Now we talk about it in middle school, because then you can actually go to a high school and get a college degree while you're in high school and get the certification.
Yes.
So I tell the kids, you guys have a head start on getting your education, getting where you want to go, doing what you want to do. I said, and I'm telling you guys, and I'm telling everybody here, when you're in high school, when you're in college, put those blinders on with everything else that's going on around you and focus on what you got to do with yourself when you grow up. Whether you want to be a doctor, Islam, and with the foundation of Islam underneath all that, and your focus on your education, you're going to start to see how easy it is to be a Muslim.
Brother Mohammed, you just mentioned actually exactly when I see kids actually in middle school or high school, I ask him, when you finish college, what you're going to be? A doctor, engineer, a teacher, what exactly? All that. In fact, when I came to America, I was a professor assistant in university in geology. Where I have freshmen. I asked him, first year in college, what are you going to be? Doctor, engineer, this. I'm not decided yet. I will tell you, you're not going to. If you're not deciding now, you're not going to decide after that. It's very important. Brother Mohammed, you have to really encourage our kids right now. If I want to be a doctor, high school. You're going to be a doctor, call your son, you're a doctor. Your daughter, you are a doctor.
Put it out there.
Dr. Muhammad, doctor, you're a teacher, you are a teacher. And what's the seed inside the heart of your kids is very important.
Absolutely.
Now, today, 15 of Shaban, either 14 or 15 days, Ramadan will come. Number one, a lot of trials and tribulation. Oh, Ramadan, not Ramadan. Ramadan, not Ramadan. No, fast, not the fast. I know some houses in our area here, not our house, alhamdulillah. Husband and wife, and the husband, they fast, and no, I'm not fast.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Do you see that?
I've seen that.
I'm not going to say Islamically now.
No.
Psychological problem, mental problem about those people. My way or the highway.
Yeah, it's sad.
But you think that's the solution?
The solution is simple. It's just the fact that us, a lot of us Muslim men and women, we're hard-headed, right? We don't want to listen to reason.
Yeah.
Right. I'm right. You're wrong. That's it.
Even husband and wife. Household.
Yeah. I mean,
fast and not fast.
You're living in the same house, and you have one person fasting, one person not. You got one person celebrating Eid, one person not. It's really mind-boggling. It's confusing because you're a couple, you're a family.
Actually, a couple also young people.
Mhm.
She fast and she don't know the Eid is tomorrow. And different Eid.
Yeah.
And after that, when her Eid second day, he already celebrated Eid.
Yeah.
And what happened? No, I said, he told me, come with me. I said, no, I met Eid yesterday. He refused to go with her and are divorced.
Yeah. SubhanAllah.
That means, Brother Mohammed, that is knowledge is very important, brother. Not from Sheikh Google and Sheikh Siri and Sheikh GPT. No, brother and sister, knowledge is very, very important. In the first 5 ayat from the Quran, Allah said, Iqra bismi rabbika. Iqra, read and understand. But before we finish, brother, very important here. How to prepare ourselves. Number one is Sunnahfollowers. How to prepare ourselves in this coming Ramadan, coming soon, inshallah, with peace, and to be also united together in Sunnahfollowers, and the tea is waiting for us before we become cold. How will Muhammad?
So I think we want to unify the ummah, right? That's one of our biggest goals in our lives. That's why I tell the kids all the time that the end goal is to unify us, all the Muslims. I don't care where you're from, what country you came from or whatever, or what color you are, we're Muslims. So I think that the end goal is to unify the ummah for forever. Right? It's hard. So we have to start within our own households, right? You can't be a husband and wife and separate and you were fasting today, you're not fasting today. That doesn't make any sense.
I like what Brother Muhammad. The household, you have to be together.
And so, I'll give you an example. I'm telling the kids, on Sunday we're going to start decorating for Ramadan. We're going to get the stuff out. Let me know what you guys want to do. Sunday I'm taking off. There's not going to be any work, no nothing, and we're going to stay at home and we're going to start to, get the house ready.
Make a plan.
We already have it in the kids, so now they know. Okay, Sunday I'm busy. Tell your friends you're not going to go fishing. Tell your other friends you're not going here. Tell your cousins you're not going anywhere. We're going to be busy on Sunday. All of Sunday is going to be focusing on Ramadan. We're going to make the house ready.
And like that. Actually, we're going to plan, my wife and I.
You have to get the kids.
But when our kids, men now.
Even for me, I get excited, right? And it's not just for the kids; it's for myself.
What individual, husband and wife only?
Get excited for it at the same time. It's something that you guys can do. Get the husband and wife together. It get that spirit going, right? And so when you start to plant little seeds here and there with your kids, with yourselves, with your spouse, you'll start to see the balance forming. Again, for me, what I've noticed is that when there's a foundation of Islam, just a foundation, and you already have it in your heart. You've been through Islamic schools, you've been through Islamic studies, you read the Quran, mashallah, you pray 5 times a day, you do the basics, just the basics of Islam. Everything else you put on top of that helps the situation, makes your foundation stronger. Especially during Ramadan. So when you start to look at your Ramadans, your past Ramadans, right? We look at our past Ramadans. What did we do wrong? Or what could we do better? Right? What could we do better this Ramadan that we didn't do during this Ramadan? And one of the things that I said was, we didn't decorate last Ramadan. We didn't get.
Yeah, I did that because the war in Gaza.
Yeah, the war in Gaza. We didn't feel it. We weren't feeling that well. We just kind of pushed things to the side and say, you know what? Let's start with our house first.
Start now.
Start now with your house first.
2 weeks left.
2 weeks left. Get your kids ready. Get yourself ready. Get yourself excited. A lot of times we have, maybe a lot of Sunnahfollowers can feel my pain on this, but caffeine, coffee, right? For me, I have to know that, okay, in 2 weeks, I can't drink coffee in the daytime. I have to drink coffee.
Suhoor.
And then when that
iftar,
right?
Yeah.
So we have to I had to switch my schedule around a little bit. I had to make accommodations because I know if I don't do this, I'm going to have the worst headache throughout the day.
For my experience, psychological stuff is not ready. Trust me with that.
And now the psychology works. No, listen, it's probably true, but it's I know that if I want to have a good Ramadan, I have to do this.
I was fasting yesterday, and I have no coffee.
Oh, mashallah.
Wallahi, the best fasting yesterday, I didn't have no hunger, no thirst, and no headache.
Mashallah.
They have headache.
That's repercussions from yesterday. See? And it's all in your head.
No, my point, Allah, but the key, like a few days left, inshallah, for Ramadan, and 2 weeks, inshallah, I'll 10 minutes. Actually,
You start building the family now. And you plan your action. You have a plan of action. Okay, this Ramadan we're gonna watch this series on whatever YouTube Islamic series that you find. Every day we're gonna watch a series right before iftar.
Inshallah.
And if there's people at your house, make them watch it with you.
Good. It's not a question for the time out of the subject. I do karate. That. If some brother asked me to teach some karate online.
Okay.
But I don't want to do it for everybody. I want to do it Sunnahfollowers. Do you think it's legal to teach martial arts in the Sunnahfollowers from home?
I mean, you have to ask Layla. Legally, I would have to ask Layla that. I wouldn't know that. I mean,
inshallah, brother and sister, I have a question regarding what Mohammed Jazakallah khair. We're going to continue this. I didn't finish it. Have many
questions. See all the questions.
Yeah, a very important question.
Next week we'll
inshallah. But brother and sister, if you have a question or any idea to add to our talk for next week, if we're still alive, inshallah, we're going to put inshallah. Any question, sister Layla there?